Hello, I'm Ed,
And I'm Reese.
and today we will be talking about social loafing and social facilitation.
So how are social loafing and social facilitation present in today's world?
And we'll be answering that question throughout this entire video. First, some background information, little introduction to both of these terms. So, social loafing and social facilitation are two concepts in social psychology that are believed to take effect in our everyday lives. First off, social loafing is defined as the tendency for people in a group to exert less effort when pooling their efforts toward attaining a common goal than when individually accountable, or simply people put less effort in alongside others. On the flip side, social facilitation is defined as improved performance on simple or well-learned tasks in the presence of others, or people put in more effort alongside others. Social loafing can be traced back to around 1913 when a man named Max Ringelmann observed that individuals exert less effort into pulling on a rope during a tug-of-war match where they were working alongside other pullers. Social facilitation can be traced back to around 1898 when Norman Triplett conducted the fishing line experiment, in which he had children reeling in a fishing line alone and alongside another child. The result of this experiment supported the idea of social facilitation when the child reeled the line in faster when racing someone else.
So our hypothesis is that if we test runners running individually in one trial and running alongside another runner, either social facilitation will result in a faster time for the runner running alongside another runner, or social loafing, which will result in a slower time for the runner running alongside another runner.
Alright, so some of the procedures that we did in order: first we gathered test subjects who are decently athletic and who can run 2 consecutive races so that the effects of fatigue won't damage the accuracy of the data. After that, we took the test subjects to a basketball court and we used the 2 touch lines as the start and finish line, which was 84 feet or about 28 yards. The third thing was to time 3 individuals running a 28-yard dash alone, all in separate trials. And then we're going to do the same thing, so we timed the individuals running a 28-yard dash but alongside another runner, all in separate trials. So that gave us 9 total results, and then we recorded the data. And
so here we will place our data on the screen for you to see. So some observations we made: that we observed that all 3 individuals that we tested the effects of social facilitation on took place. Each individual had a slightly faster average time than when they ran alongside someone else than when they ran alone. Furthermore, runners seemed to exert more effort into finishing before their opponent in each trial, which may ultimately lead to them having a faster time.
from our observations, we concluded that the effects of social facilitation take place in today's world. By timing individuals running from touchline to touchline on a basketball court alone and then against someone in a competition-like setting, we were able to prove that individuals exert more effort and perform better on simple, well-learned tasks that may positively influence their pride if they compete against someone else. Due to this, we could not conclude anything about social loafing. In our case, the type of activity may have caused individuals to perform better rather than worse. If the task had been different, like if it were something less competitive or something involving members of a group, then social loafing could be shown. This experiment showed that a competitive activity performed in front of a crowd allowed for social facilitation rather than social loafing, but changing the nature of the experiment could potentially lead to opposing results.
And so for the final step of our experiment, we have replication. So if this experiment were to be replicated, a few things should be altered. First, regardless of what activity is being performed, more volunteers need to be used. We only use 3 for each, and we all know that 6 total people truly isn't enough to determine statistical significance. The activity type should also be changed to something that requires a group and isn't necessarily competitive. In our experiment, we did the exact opposite, which brought out social facilitation. The complement to our experiment should hypothetically show social loafing.
Alright, so we have 3 terms that we used throughout this whole thing. Actually, 4, my bad. The first one is de-individuation, which is the loss of self-awareness and self-restraint occurring in group situations that foster arousal and anonymity.
The Yerkes-Dodson law, which is the principle that performance increases with arousal only up to a point, beyond which performance decreases.
The arousal theory, which states that the major reason people are driven to perform any action is to maintain the optimal level of physiological arousal.
And crowding, which is an aversive stimuli that can lead up to social facilitation or social loafing.
Okay, so we have two sources. The first one is from a website called sagepub.com, and they looked at some key concepts in sports psychology. This source was really important because it helped explain the difference between social loafing and social facilitation, not only verbally but also in context. So this source showed sport-related experiments that were quite similar to the experiments that we did, and overall this website was a really useful reference throughout the entire experiment.
And our second website was sciencedirect.com. This source was a thesis paper to an actual experiment that tested for social loafing and social facilitation. Once again, this source provided a great example of how to run an experiment to test what we needed. This experiment also helped us look at the two terms of two related things and not necessarily as two opposing things. 2, 1, go.
And that pretty much wraps it up. So thank you for hearing us talk about social loafing and social facilitation. And I hope that you take what you learned today out into the real world so you could observe it in your athletics, in your other competitive or group activities. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.